My friends, welcome. This is Archangel. First, I must caution you, in this discussion, I am going to abandon lucidity, as I apparently do quite often in my videos, and stray into hypothesis, conjecture, myth, fairy tale, and spiritual woo-woo stuff, as it may or may not apply to male devaluation and discardation, and being in this gynocentric dimension. I am going to totally stray from the accepted scientific canon, which has voided the notion of a higher power, higher reality, or an afterlife. All we have is this coincidental sentience, and a few brief years to come to terms with this fortuitous happenstance, before our unique individual personhood is snuffed out forever. Please listen to this in its entirety. It is worth everyone's time. Since life and death affect everyone, it will cause you to think and clarify your own positions, regardless of your receptivity to the proposals contained herein. I'm sorry for the length, but when discussing life and the universe, it really cannot be summed up in neat little sound bites. So, tell me, friends, are you enjoying life? I mean, really enjoying life? What if you are not meant to? If you have a Y chromosome, then maybe, just maybe, you are not here for fun and frivolity. You are here to toil and labor. In fact, most of you Y chromosomers do not even get much of a happy-go-lucky innocent childhood to carelessly frolic before you are indoctrinated with behavioral conditioning, imprinted with the man up, protect, and provide propaganda. And this is unfair. I mean, even many loans give you a 60 to 90 day grace period to enjoy a thing before the first payment is due. But male payments are due the minute they enter this world, and for some, their first payment is the most expensive, their foreskin. Life. Why? Well, we have different explanations for life. It's coincidence. It's a test. We are here to replenish the earth. Or we are here for reasons that do not involve happy, happy, joy, joy. Societal canon of various stripes tells us that life is so precious and special and beautiful. A miracle to experience. But what if all this happiness talk is mostly post-processed food fresh out of the backside of the horse? What if you are here to suffer, not to enjoy yourself? What if this existence is a labor camp, not some spiritual or cosmic beach resort? Humans here for toil and not leisure? Well, this would explain why fun and pleasure are so temporary and fleeting, and why tumult and pain is so pervasive. Because pain and toil is the purpose here. Yet, to keep us sane and fooled into pulling the plow, we are allowed vacations and donuts and orgasms once in a while to keep us compliant and parroting to one another that life here is essentially good despite small pockets of suffering and inequity, as we spend our lives chasing these tiny little insignificant pleasures, while ignoring the remaining 90% of life comprised of pain, suffering, and misery. And the people that do recognize life as more pain than suffering will rationalize the injustice by saying 3 seconds of female-assisted ejaculation or seeing a pretty girl smile is worth a lifetime of servitude and turmoil. It is quite clever, compelling the sheep to justify their own enslavement. But, you see, we must be allowed the occasional pathetic pleasure, because if there were no roller coasters or ice cream in life ever, we might quickly discover that this place is a hell. Now, if this is a hell or a purgatory, then it makes sense why males are abused seemingly without justice or recourse, for there is neither justice nor recourse to gynocentrism. Males will always be sacrificed for uteruses. This is not a social paradigm. This is nature enforced by males. So males have no justice in this life, which seems to bolster the hell or lab rat hypothesis. Prison is rich in suffering, poor in pleasure. Lo and behold, this mirrors the male plight. Rich in misery, poor in pleasure. So, if humanity has purposes other than fun and leisure in this life, then obviously we don't want the workhorses, males, to enjoy themselves or have the full ripeness of certain pleasures. An obvious example being sexual pleasure. If you have been genitally mutilated, circumcised, then someone ignorantly deprived you of sexual experience richness and sentenced you to handicapped sensation and dysfunction. Intact or not, a Y chromosome earns you a ticket to suffer and die for female welfare when push comes to shove in this existence. Obviously, people who purchase such pie-in-the-sky God, honor, duty, country, family, traditionalist dogma will balk at such musings that we are in hell or that this is a prison planet, because they so fully purchase the standard narrative that says life is inherently good. It is what you make of it. If you see good, then joy will be your experience. If you focus on bad, then ugliness will be your experience. So, ignore the naysayers and do what you're told by your government, your religion, your community, your wife, and then life will be joyous and fulfilling. And if it does start to suck, just remember rule number 1. In the Matrix, life is joyous and fulfilling if you do as you're told. Yet, I think there is an underlying reality beneath all the optimistic life is beautiful greeting card cliches. Something perhaps more insidious. Friends, for a few minutes, just suspend belief and imagine with me, what if this place is a prison, a torture chamber, and the only way to escape it is by rejecting sex and romance and empowering ourselves by facing the universe alone as an army of one, unencumbered by codependence on a partner? What if relationships or desire for romantic companionship actually hinders our ascension and escape from this desolate existence? What if we are here of our own volition, tricked into checking ourselves into this lab experiment, and in order to escape, we need to eschew the enticements that keep us coming back and checking ourselves in, time after time, to this armpit of the universe nicknamed Hotel Zumanity? And just like going through metal detectors at the airport, you go by yourself. People free themselves by themselves. Male devaluing propaganda says that an adult male is childish when he is single. However, he has grown up when he dedicates himself to female servitude via marriage and family. But I posit that males attaching themselves to gynocentric responsibilities is not growing up. This is simply distraction trading. We indoctrinate males to trade games, toys, and the novelties of single life for the chemical highs of sex and courtship, which is far more addicting than games and toys. Either way, we are distracted by stuff, things which keep us focused on simple survival and getting along in society, rather than questioning what is really going on in this existence. Males do not grow up when they finally submit to gynocentric financial responsibilities and bow at the altar of female. Rather, the male is stopping his personal growth and advancement at the level of female codependency, where males stay the rest of their lives, chasing one female recreational interaction after another. Thus, males transitioning from juvenile interests to female servitude, these males have not grown up. They have found a more hardcore vice than sports or games or toys, and they have ceased all further personal growth or empowerment to chase this recreational female addiction relationship after relationship for the rest of their lives. Taking on the role of protector-provider, though perhaps noble, has stymied male growth to that of a slave who does not rebel against the inequity. He can't afford to. He has a family he is responsible for. And this is how we have a male devaluing world maintained by males, because we have their families to leverage against them. They can't afford to fight mistreatment. Adult males remaining single for personal growth are actually advanced far beyond the males who submit to brainwashing and agree to enslavement. Yet the advancement-stymied males are the very same males who fancy themselves more enlightened, more grown-up, more heroic, more responsible than single males for taking on dependence. Many think that monks or single males are selfish for not continuing the species, for not acquiescing and mirroring the romantic drivel of our species, where we seek to enforce the relations of antagonistic sexes. But what if we have a grander mission to resist enticement and entanglements in order to escape this place that abuses us without recourse? What if, to truly escape this miserable prison that we are all stuck in, you have to overcome codependency and emotional romantic addiction and return to one, return to single, return to self? Maybe when you see a male who is single on purpose, you are really witnessing a prison break in the making. What if children being brainwashed with the propaganda of this place is the childhood of existence? Then, male-female romantic relationships is like the teenage stage of eternal development. Hence, growing beyond romantic fiction and focusing on self-empowerment. This is really growing up in the cosmic sense. Maybe those who have grown up to be the expendable protectors and providers have become stuck in the teenage phase, which is insufficient to escape this maze. And so being addicted to sex and romantic recreational relationships, they will live and die and come back to live and die again, chasing this external validation addiction that they have not overcome. Meanwhile, the energy of their suffering, lifetime after lifetime, feeds this matrix. Yet, what if one lifetime, for whatever reason, you step outside the romance and coupling baloney and you finally discover the truth of male-female relations? You separate yourself from the game and finally you observe the carnage of the game. You stumble across the true plight of males. You glimpse the wizard behind the curtain. At long last it clicks. You break free of the soulmate divine coupling indoctrination and finally return to self. And empowerment of self is how you escape this existence rather than return time and again chasing enticements and pleasures. A self-imposed prison does indeed seem to resonate with some truth. For in a universe of free will, people cannot save one another. You can encourage others to awaken, but only individuals can save or free themselves. This is not a couple's exercise. So while all the ignorant blue and purple pillars are dancing merrily around you, enjoying the fleeting courtship chemicals and sexual highs, and rubbing their addictions in your face, prompting you to join them, meanwhile, you are standing in your power and sovereignty, rejecting fairy tales and injustice, meaning you are rejecting the enticements that might lure you back here, and you are set to get the hell out of this prison dimension when you die. Whether you entertain room for more beyond this life, or whether this is it. Either way, if you see male devaluation, then your awakening was most likely slow, arduous, and painful. But you did it. Awakened individuals have defeated the game master, and we are finally free, if only in our minds. We own ourselves. The vaginisty can no longer claim us. This existence being a prison is, of course, speculation, and I will come back to this point soon hence. But let's paint the larger picture to bring us to this point where I can hypothesize that ridding yourself of codependence on females will be your ticket to ascension, enlightenment, and or escape from this unjust plane. When males awaken to their true plight as disposable utilities, they inevitably come to the point of utter rendering, where they can do nothing less than question this very existence, after everything they thought they lived for is revealed as fake. When their beliefs are a useless sham, then what is the point of all of this? I mean, good God, for the love of Batman's breakfast burrito, what could possibly be the true purpose of being in this existence brainwashed by fairy tales? When everything a male thought was true and precious and special, everything that society and religion says is our purpose, what we live for, such as family, honor, duty, country, God, when all these are window dressing over a false front to hide male usury, then really, what in the hell is truly going on here? Beneath constructs of nature and procreation and survival of the fittest explanational foundations, beneath societal paradigms belying both science and religion, what is really going on here? And what is our place in the cosmos? What can we observe? What do we know? Well, entropy is constant. Matter decays. Things fall apart. Perhaps a loved one dies, or ideals or beliefs you held dear are revealed false, and the things you were living for fall through, and you are left cold and alone. And so you invariably question existence. What is the purpose of being here as a male, or a female for that matter? If you are an awakened male, you dance with such ponderings on a daily basis. Now, first off, I have not gone off the sanity deep end. I like science, and if I was pinned down to speculate life beyond mortality based upon observable evidence, then I would side with materialist science. There is nothing else, for I have seen no evidence of anything else. Maybe there are wonders beyond this life. Maybe there is not. Maybe the world is run by smurfs and fairies. Who knows? Much of the machinations of our environment is speculation, and when speculation undergoes the scientific method, the results become theory, which, in scientific terms, is essentially proven fact. However, I keep an enthusiastic open mind to all various possibilities, and indeed amongst the practitioners of science, there are many that proselytize higher existences than this. Just as there are many people of faith that lean towards materialism, who find their religious beliefs to be a nice guideline for a civil society, but they realize that the writings of old books is not proof of an afterlife. It is extremely wise for all humans to question their preconceived beliefs or notions. Is it all baloney? Now, all that being said, it would seem that to find resolution, some morally satisfying explanation to existence that is emotionally nourishing, it helps empowered males to have some form of expanded belief, or at least an openness to the possibility there is something greater than ourselves or human existence. If you are atheist or strict materialist, then all you have is the here and now. Yet, in reality, that is all anyone ever has. Whatever happens to be in front of your face at this moment, that is all we know. In appropriate accordance, materialism states that there is no "why are we here" epiphanies. We just are, as a logical conclusion to rocks banging together in space some years ago, which initiated the procession of elements into organic matter, then into simple organisms, and eventually into complex organisms, and ultimately culminating in the Homo sapien, and the thought-based constructs of human interaction called societies. From a certain viewpoint, such coincidence or "this is it, survival of the fittest" conclusions would seem to bypass morality and compel spontaneous selfishness and hedonism to indulge in as much fun and pleasure as possible before you are no more. In other words, eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die, and there is nothing after that. So get what you can while you can. There is nothing else. And this hedonistic gluttonous mandate of a chaotic nature is most definitely centered around chasing sex and physical pleasure. And indeed, many conventionally trained die-in-the-wool scientists or atheists simply go with the flow to maximize contentment and minimize turmoil until their temporary consciousness, personal knowledge, memories, and experiences permanently dissolve into nothingness. In fact, like everyone else, strict materialists place females on such a high pedestal you need binoculars to see them. A pedestal where males hail females as the prize, the best thing about their entropic existence of random brutality. Yet, scientific males are not devoid of myth, because many worship females as a deity in the place of an actual deity. They hail females as superior. Just look at many in the scientific community. They are bigger feminists than many feminists. One consequence of the no afterlife assertion is that there is no greater accountability for harming or trespassing others. There is no punishment in some afterlife for your slights in this life. If you can get away with it here, you are golden. There will be no reckoning. Thus, the misdeeds or suffering of anyone is all for naught. Learning, growing, improving character, all are useless endeavors and ridiculous moral constructs that will decay right along with your corpse. So what is the point of being good or ethical or learning? It will not benefit you. Only if you pass along acquired knowledge or wisdom will it possibly benefit and make easier the lives of the next generation of fortuitous, pointless, dissolvable beings who are here without rhyme or reason. So to adhere to strict absolute materialism raises a behavioral quandary. For essentially, we can brutalize each other, and so long as you get away with it in the here and now, you are free. There is no justice in the universe. The only structure erected to stymie the flow of wanton human debauchery is human rule. The shifting human laws that we have enacted via government, that's it. Only threat of immediate punishment here is what keeps people from going postal. That's kind of scary, huh? The thought that people refrain from robbing or killing, not because it is morally wrong, but rather they are afraid of being caught and punished. The human constructs of religion follow governmental templates. Threat of punishment. Behave in the manner that we dictate, or you will be punished, whether in this life or the hereafter. Religion preaches punishment in another time and place if people do not do as they are told. But all human bodies of governance play on fear of punishment, which is quite effective because people will do more to escape pain than to gain pleasure. If humans are so awesome, then why must they be threatened with punishment to keep them moral and just? How come they do not do the right thing because it is the right thing? So, is that why we are here? Just because it's all coincidence? Perhaps. However, this explanation is unsatisfying to some. Thus, we have the other end of the spectrum. Belief. Faith entails. One way to internally resolve the ugliness in the world is to have beliefs unprovable in the material world. Trust that there is justice out there somewhere, that suffering here is not in vain, that a higher good exists. Now, if you believe in a higher something, then the hypothesized reasons we are here are as varied as the people or groups who proffer them. Maybe we are here to learn. Maybe we are here to simply experience this dimension and realm. Or perhaps we are like aid workers that have come to help a hate-ravaged planet. And while here, we have become trapped, caught in ugliness. Maybe we were created as slaves to a grander race. We are the horses or cattle to a more advanced form of life. Maybe we are being tested. Maybe we are repaying past slights, aka karma. Or maybe this is a prison of some sort, punishment, or maybe we are stricken with amnesia, trapped in this holding facility where we languish until we can figure out how to escape. And this seems most compelling and agreeable to observable reality. Religion is tales to explain life and impose governance on humans. Different religions have different tales, which have become dogmatism passed down the generations. Dogmatism requires faith in the absence of fact. The problem with human institutions is they are made up of fallible humans. And when religion says to have faith, they are essentially saying, trust us. Trust our faith, trust our conviction until you make your own. The problem with trust us platitudes is BS or agenda are usually not too far behind. We cannot remember anything before this life. We are simply feeling our way along the mortal wall blindly, in the dark, and told to believe in this religious book or that religious book, all of which have been altered or changed or manipulated throughout the years, who knows how many times, twisting any bits of truth. If ever these books had any truth, we are told to have faith, meaning blind belief in some tale, till placebo actually happens. We pretend what we are told is true until such time as repetition becomes belief and we literally cause physical excitations, tinglings, or warmings in our hearts, which are self-induced placebo manifestations that this religion or that one has truth in it. Dare I say that most religious signs, such as stigmata, are placebo effects manifested by the zealous beliefs of a resolute follower. Seriously. Think about it. We cannot remember anything before this life. We are told by previous generations of humans what to believe. Does it really make sense that we are here as some test to prove ourselves worthy to live with some angry god, or because we were cast out of some paradise for someone else's disobedience? For example, the explanation that we are being tested. Well, how fair is a test when the teacher wipes your mind before the test? Surely there are many reasons we are here, alone and hurting, surrounded by ugliness and pretty lies that hide a dreadful matrix. After entertaining various traditional higher power explanations and comparing their canon to the existence I observe around me, I have come to conclude that if we exist for a grander cosmic purpose, it does not involve fun. We are not here to enjoy ourselves. Observing the perpetual ugliness and negativity of the human and this realm, and that our morality is not evolving as our technology, we have to upgrade or entertain new hypotheses. I have danced this circle many times, and two main avenues continue to re-emerge. Either there is nothing else, or there is a nefarious agenda governing our current existence, meaning that we are here for not so fluffy reasons. Like maybe we incarnated here under false pretenses. Come, visit this beautiful planet in this rare arm of this wonderful galaxy. It will be the time of your life. We were sold the French Riviera in the brochures, and we got here and found ourselves in Guantanamo Bay, and now we are trapped in this cesspool of ugliness. Or perhaps this is a rehab colony for mischief makers from other systems. Or maybe this is straight up hell, where we chase pleasure and get pain. Yeah, that sounds like torment in purgatory to me, to constantly chase ephemeral pleasure and falsehoods, whether it is love, extended orgasm, happiness, whatever. Everything males chase in this realm is fleeting, temporary, and when they think they finally have something, it slips just beyond their reach once again. So, you keep chasing it. That seems to be male existence, chasing the validation carrot that is always and forever just out of their reach. So, you put one and one together, and this place sounds like hell. If this is hell, or some reformatory, that begs the question, what am I doing here? Was I a bad individual in some other existence? Oh, believe you me, I want to know that answer more than anyone. I like to think that I am here as an undercover operative to help people awaken to their prison and revolt. Now obviously I, as everyone, can change my viewpoint as data becomes available. But really, this is the explanation that rings most true to me so far. We are here under duress by not-so-nice beings that have high stakes in the negativity on planet Earth. Then again, maybe we are all here to make snickerdoodles for Cookie Monster. Okay, quick recap, and then we'll discuss my wacky hypothesis. So, life. Why? Well, convention gives us two flavors in response. Matter suddenly exploded into being. Then rocks banged together in space, bada bing, bada boom. Here we are, complex life, millions of years later. All this is fortuitous, and the inequity of reproductive sex organs, resulting in gynocentrism, which devalues and discards males. All of this is happenstance, a coincidental roll of cosmic dice. Well, even though there is no such being to roll big, grand cosmic dice. And the other flavor is that this life was created and orchestrated by a higher power, and we are left to hypothesize the machination of this cosmic maestro. And so far, most of the world believes that life and its struggles are some form of testing or debt payoff. Maybe some angry, vengeful god needs to kick us out of the celestial nest to make us prove our worthiness to come back. Or we came here to receive flesh and be tested. Perhaps we are paying off karma, we are being punished for the disobedience of others, etc., etc. Okay, well, why the violence and gynocentrism and male devaluation and disposability? Are these just added annoyances for males? Or perhaps they are carefully constructed parameters of the test which appear to primarily test males? Yeah, how's that fair? Okay. What do we know for sure? Well, so far, we know that matter coalesces and eventually dissolves. This is life in a nutshell. Everything that happens in between is just details, and one of those details is the fact that males are used and discarded. I find compelling the assertion that we are here under duress, and our controllers need us to stay here and come back here after each death to continue their agenda. Whether they need us for slaves, or to mine gold, or because they energetically feed off the energy we emit when experiencing anger, or sorrow, or suffering. Otherworldly, other-dimensional negative malicious beings need us here feuding with each other to benefit them. Now, the center stone to this discussion and line of reasoning is free will. It would also make sense that this universe is free will, meaning we choose to be here, whether we were tricked into choosing to come here, or whether we volunteered to help. Either way, we gave consent to be here. If this was not a free will universe, then higher benevolence would have come and saved humanity years ago from forced bondage and carnage and unjust suffering. It rings true that we are universal multidimensional energy beings in a free will universe. We are infinite energy or light that inhabits corporeal form. Corporeal form meaning rocks, matter, water, cells, all are also light and energy slowed down from a non-local waveform and sequestered to vibrate a certain way for a certain amount of time before a thing dissolves back into energy. This is an interpretation of Einstein's E equals mc squared. Everything is energy in different states and vibrations, yet everything eventually returns to a non-material wave. The only question is, does consciousness or personality follow the dissolving of your cells back into ethereal energy? If so, this is what we would call the spirit state or afterlife. I am hypothesizing that we do retain personality in energy form. Thus, in truth and reality, we are actually spirits or souls, not the aggregate amalgamation of our physical bodies. Therefore, continuing this line of reasoning, being free will beings, there are infinite beings in the cosmos, many of whom may choose the dark side of the force and the mistreatment of others. So these negative agenda entities set up shop harvesting energy in some backwater planet of some insignificant universe. And voila, us! However, a free will universe means that we must agree to keep coming back to this dump, and so nefarious enterprises that need our labors or energy in some form must compel us to choose to come here, and continuing to come here. So, much subterfuge is employed to coerce us. Hence, upon death, the newly emancipated spirit, in a confused state, is intercepted by these charlatans that masquerade themselves as religious figures or deceased loved ones, and the newly emancipated spirit is tricked into coming back here of their own free will. Now, aside from post-mortem trickery, another significant reason we choose to return to this cesspool is because we have an attachment and want to come back to this particular flavor of physicality. Perhaps we have an attachment to land or an obsession with an experience, such as sex, and so we voluntarily reincarnate in order to experience these things again and again, over and over. You see, this is the devious genius of this prison. There are few experiences such as sex and the chemical highs of courtship that carry intense but short-lived pleasure. Such intense yet temporary fleeting pleasures in this place. This creates insatiable hunger, drive for more and more pleasures from life, and this is the devious hook that compels beings to return willingly, chasing ephemerality lifetime after lifetime. Seriously, consider this. It is no mistake that we are surrounded in pain, and that pleasure is extraordinarily short-lived, leaving people unsatisfied and desirous of more. Thus, people chase the superficial and transient until they die. Then, upon life review, the newly deceased finds themselves surrounded by crooks, pretending to be Christ, or Muhammad, or Aunt Molly, or Snuggles your doggy. And as you are making sense of everything and deciding what adventure or experience to have next, these tricksters that need you to come back to this miserable prison step in to shame you with all your mistakes. You need to come back and correct mistakes or repay slights. Or they try a different tactic. The sneaky weasels will remind you of how much you liked donuts, or how fun it was to laugh and play. Oh, and don't forget all the romance or sex. Remember how pleasurable all that was? Or maybe you had been ugly and disadvantaged, and you watched everybody else have fun. You missed out on fun stuff. But, by God, you're gonna go back, and this time, you're gonna be that rock star. You will get the fairy tale love that everyone else had, or you will be a rich tycoon, a larger-than-life icon. So you are like Cypher chewing his steak. Yeah, I will go back in, but I want to be a superstar this time. Agreement satisfies the free will of this universe. You are the one that has chosen to return to this house of horrors. Now, stay with me here. What if many of us originated in other galaxies, other universes, other realms, or dimensions, and were tricked, cheated, or deceived into coming here? Then, when we got here, we received mandatory amnesia as part of the incarnation process, so we forgot our divine greatness. Moreover, we proceeded to lose ourselves as we got hooked on mortal enticements, like female validation, which many continued to chase incarnation after incarnation. Maybe this place has become so corrupt, a call went out to the free will universe for volunteers to help free this place of negativity. So a mass migration of helpers have come here, which is why our population has exploded in recent decades. Helpers have come to awaken us to our prison. Under this assumption, millions of entities have been trapped here in the Earth realm for millennia, stuck on the wheel of karma, as some would say, reincarnating over and over, playing out dramas or chasing the fleeting pleasures of this realm, lifetime after lifetime. Now, with the influx of helpers from other realms, we have billions trapped here. This has become a problem. Deception has been used, which invoked entities to come here only to be mired in drama, like being stuck in quicksand. Yet, it is a free will universe, and on some level, we agreed to be here, so we can't have gods or ETs coming here to rescue us from everything that we agreed to. That would be a violation of our free will. However, benevolence, those who currently choose the light side of the force, they can clearly see the trickery and associative injustice of this energy harvesting prison. So, with non-interference being the rule, the only option is to teach people, awaken them to the prison that is the Matrix, and then people can empower themselves and choose to leave this system of corruption. People have to choose to save themselves. You cannot save others. You can only educate and encourage them to awaken and help themselves. You can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make it drink. Yet, we are not abandoned to this injustice. We have help. This is where we see the great prophets or teachers throughout the years. What if much of the population has been trapped here for millennia, cycling into life again and again under nefarious false pretenses, and so advanced covert operatives like Jesus or Buddha came here to teach people how to escape this matrix by awakening and going inside yourself for power and wisdom, not gleaning it from others. And what has been the boiled down message of nearly all great teachers? Self-empowerment. They did not say females were superior or salvation, or that shacking up with a chick will save you from your wretched state. Nope, they basically said be kind to others, yet stand in your sovereignty and essentially go your own way, away from corruption and abuse. Great! I am so ready to get out of hell. How do we do it? What if the answer to escaping this place is overcoming the temptations here and relinquishing the desire for experience in this existence? What if the key to empowering yourself is to give up the need for others and exist all by yourself? Meaning, be single, give up the desire for sex, romance, power, or physical pleasure, and be kind to others, yet help them see the folly of such temporary pursuits. This is where the monk came from, rejecting enticements that will hook you into reincarnation. Most people look at monks as weaklings, cowards hiding away from the temptations of the world. Yet really, monks are simply prisoners preparing for a prison break. Many traditions maintain that kids or spouses create karma, because entangling yourself with others keeps you coming back to protect them, watch over them, or continue experiences and drama with those others. Lifetimes of continued experience would be fine if everybody was sharing experiences in some paradise galaxy. But this is a prison system that we are stuck in, where we have to escape individually. Eventually, your loved ones will join you elsewhere when they have finally had their fill of crap and awakened to liberate themselves. This existence tells males to hate themselves and love women, indeed find salvation through females. Yet what if our task as males is to abstain from females and love ourselves by ourselves and find salvation through ourselves, through our free will to say, piss off, I no longer choose mistreatment, I choose to leave this dumpster. This is perhaps enlightenment, when an individual no longer needs another and is turned inwards instead of outwards for emotional suckle. The world says a male becomes a man and truly grows up when he joins with a woman. But what if the reverse were true, that a male grows up when he separates from females and returns to self? Perhaps this is true advancement, relinquishing the toys of this existence, such as the chemical intoxicants of sex and courtship, and the oxytocin of relationships or romance. And thus a being truly advances when they no longer have need for these earthly toys anymore. Let's just assume this is true, that to escape this dungeon, we need to eschew all the fairy tales and enticements of this place in order to escape. Otherwise, we will have attachments that will not let us go to other places, other planets, other galaxies, other dimensions. Some call these karmic attachments. They are the machinations chaining us to this existence, such as the things we desire or the unfinished business that keeps us coming back to this same overflowing dumpster time and again. And one of the strongest attachments that will bring people back is sex and the idea of love and romance, as per Disney fairy tales. This, I surmise, has brought people back for hundreds of lives, chasing love and sexual pleasure. Now, when we get here, and each time we come back, we have two choices. Come back as a devalued, loathsome creature who toils and suffers, or come back as an entitled eater who uses the first group to get by in life. Now, assuming our speculation thus far is accurate, how do you know where you stand in relation to this hypothesis? Well, a good indicator of your odds of returning is your attachment to sensation. You see, a person can enjoy a joint or a bag of Doritos or the material things of life. However, if I told you, you will be departing life in 2 hours, in other words, 2 hours from now, you will die, what would be your reaction? If you immediately freak out because you have things you still want to do or experience, then you have attachments, and attachments have the capacity to bring you back. Maybe you want another bag of Doritos, or another bottle of vodka, or more sex. You want another vacation to Italy. You have a bucket list to check off. You have food to eat, chicks to bang, family to live for, and progeny to support. You need more kisses from the missus, and more pats on the head from the female populace. More Christmas gatherings and summer picnics. You have more stuff to do. Your freak-out ratio regarding imminent termination will tell you your level of attachment. Attachment that will, if the theory has any validity, bring you back looking for more specific experience, or looking to be with loved ones, again in this physicality. Or because of missed opportunities for sensation. Maybe you didn't get much love, or pleasure, or enjoyment the previous life, and you want another try, another opportunity to enjoy more things, like you saw the rich and beautiful folks doing in the previous life, where you were ugly and poor. Or maybe you really enjoyed the comforts and sensations of the previous life, and it was so fun, you want to do it again. But, gentlemen, project the timeline in an immediate linear progression from our current state of social and legally mandated male devaluation to what it will be in 10, 20, 50 years. If you think it sucks right now, how about coming back again and again to this crap? Perhaps feminism will rage on for centuries, and the collapse of civilization will never happen. Males will simply become the legal property of females. I really do not predict males rising up against male injustice. They will continue as doormat addicts, enforcing disposability onto other males. So assuming current attitudes continue to increase along their current male devaluing trajectory, the future looks more bleak and more male abusive. What if, in the future, things have gotten worse and males are even more dehumanized and weakened than they are now? You want to come back to being a male in all of that? We come into existence by ourselves, and we leave by ourselves. You don't enter this realm in couples, twins notwithstanding. So we do not leave this place 2 by 2. Couples may help each other in life, yet when it comes time to slip under the barbed wire fence to escape this place, we do it singly, by ourselves. Individuals ascend based upon their own merits, not the merits or residual grace of a family member or lover or friend. The bottom line is that whether it's entrance to heaven or escape from hell, it's not about couples. It is all individual based. Couples don't get enlightened together. You are responsible for your ascension by yourself. You cannot save nor be saved by anyone else, no matter what your parents or friends or religions or cultures tell you. So being one rather than two is your ticket out of here, and you cannot be one if you are addicted and hopelessly codependent on two. Ridding yourself of dependence on others and standing in your own power and value and sovereignty gives you a clear heart. And what if a clear, unencumbered heart is your connection to Source, to God, to the universe of unlimited power? This is why you need to shut off programming and indoctrination and focus inward to free yourself from distractions that would muddy your connection to the infinite. And many call this meditation. A clear heart is connection to power. A heart encumbered with neediness for external validation from others is a heart distracted and mired down in obligation to this realm. And many call this karma. However, when you mix sexual pleasure with beauty and courtship chemical highs, you mingle a clear heart of love with temporary transient impulses, and this muddies connections to the point where you doubt creation, and you are much more gullible to the tricks of these entities that depend on you coming back again and again to toil and suffer for their enrichment. So, whether you are a scientist or a religious zealot, what is established is that we are essentially energy in various forms. Hence, where focus goes, energy flows. Meaning, what you focus on, you put your energies into. So, when you focus on self-empowerment, you are unstoppable. When you focus on your need or desire for external validation, you feed your addictions and insecurities. When you give your affections to another, you give them your energy and disrupt your connection with Source, which is your lifeline out of this dump. Having a clear heart, unencumbered by attachment, is your cosmic connection, like Neo waiting for the phone to ring to retrieve him from the Matrix. Chasing romance or sex or any form of external material validation is giving your affections to the transient traps of this place, and you are unable to get updates from the universe. It would be like Neo being on another line chatting with some chick when Morpheus was trying to call to get him out of the Matrix. But what resonates as very likely is that our captors need us to be attached to this material realm and agree to come back time and again as we labor for them or provide them energy feasts through our ugliness and negativity. This is why there is such electricity between the sexes, and the pleasure, and the sparks, and chemicals, and adrenaline, and increased heartbeat, and excitement, and fun, because they need us to get attached, hooked on romance or sex, or the idea of needing another to complete us. Because when we are busy with sex or romance or relationships, our hearts are not connected to Source. We are clouded, unsure of anything, and so we grasp at and cling to the only thing that we know, which is external validation. And males being clouded with doubts about life and its purpose cling ever more fiercely to females as real-life angels and saviors and salvation, even as deities in an existence which may or may not continue. Sex and romance is chemical. Male-female interaction causes a chemical cascade of feel-good drugs in our bodies, which then makes us crave more, and we confuse this drug high for the love that we hear in songs and fairy tales. And when everything is boiled down to brass tacks, we are caught up in the catch-22 of seeking love and romance, which causes attachments and return trips to this place where we are entrapped slaves. None of the great teachers throughout history said, find a chick because that's the only way you're getting off this rock. Neither did they say, find a chick and legally incorporate because that's the only way you will be saved or enter heaven. Though I grew up in a religious cult that believed this, that you did not reach the highest level of heaven if you were not married. No, most said to go within yourself, not go within others to find deliverance. You are all you need. Romance is distraction from your true connection to the infinite, keeping your heart unencumbered and your mind clear. This is how you avoid the sneaky traps that will bring you back to this place, where females are exalted and worshipped, and you, the male, are devalued, abused, mistreated, and you are disposable. Now, caring for and having sympathy and compassion for others is one thing, but giving your romantic affections and focus away to anyone, you essentially give up your escape route from this trash heap. You need to be an island of one. When you chase love, you are really chasing external validation, and you might as well have frequent flyer points in Plantation Earth's VIP reincarnation program. Really, why is there so much encouragement for male-female coupling? Everywhere, through pleasure and chemicals and songs and instincts and culture. Males and females were meant to be together, soulmates, star-crossed lovers, etc. When really these two sexes would not associate nearly as much without all the chemical incentive to interact. Males and females really do not like one another, yet we have all the programming and instincts that compel us into interaction. Why is this? Well, obviously for gene and carbon replication, but on an energetic spiritual level, all this pleasure and chemicals are a trap to keep us in an obsessive broken state, in an existence that is neither loving nor fair, and needs us to come here of our own accord. So if our jailers can get us attached to something, anything here, then that will better the odds that we will return of our own choosing. Moreover, when your heart has been broken, it is not receptive to the universe calling to rescue you from this matrix. Maybe this is why our handlers compel females to break male hearts, because males are close to escaping, and so it behooves our jailers to have males' tender emotions crushed, and nobody crushes male feelings better than a female, whether a mother or a lover. Thus, it is desired to keep us broken, unreceptive to the infinite, depressed, and feeding them negative energy, as well as turning these guys into repeat business, as these males may choose to come back and continue this romantic drama and validation chasing in this third density dimension time and again. Think of everything that drives males and females together. This is purposeful. It is not by accident that we have chemical rewards and instinctual programming that compels us to behave as we do. Because if the slave population of Plantation Earth revolted, the evil entities would be put out of business. So we have elaborate instincts and intense desires and overwhelming urges, along with chemical and emotional rewards, as well as social and cultural indoctrination with love and sex and romance that absolutely saturates us with all this BS. Meanwhile, our heart connection to universe is disconnected, and we cannot escape, and we lose our compassion and empathy for others, as we become addicts chasing the ephemeral, and quarreling with all the other toddlers in this dump, not knowing our true lineage, that we are cosmic titans, temporarily trapped by distraction, unable to remember who we really are. So, life. Maybe there is nothing beyond, or perhaps there is continuance, and if there is continuance, then there is rhyme to this universe, which means the ugliness and negativity here has reasoning behind it, a force that purposefully drives it, which explains why our morality has not evolved over the millennia. Our technology has evolved by leaps and bounds, yet we still hate and hurt one another. So this leads me to the compelling hypothesis that this is a prison where we are trapped, possibly for labor, possibly for energy harvesting. Or there is another option. Perhaps I am 2 socks short of a pair. But what I do know is that we devalue and dispose of males, and this is wrong in any paradigm, whether of nature or higher continuance. Male devaluation, male disposability, male suffering. It is wrong. But perhaps the misery and torment and strife and turmoil is not in vain. Perhaps the mistreatment is breadcrumbs reminding you that this is a trap. Do not get involved. Remain outside the abuse, and this will free you. And my friends, if you listen to this entire thing, thank you for your consideration. Let us put the finger to our jailers, and not be fooled again when we move on from this life. My friends, stand with me, live free,